Hey everybody, welcome to Technical. Common question I get all the time is, what does your personal setup look like? Because usually I film from back here and you see nothing but the fucking stairs and the wall. So I figured I'd turn the camera around, commission Kate, who's very expensive by the way, and she charges a lot for her time, to film me, and I can show you the entirety of the basement setup here, the entire studio, and maybe a few extras along the way. Okay, first up we have my...
Why do you gesticulate so much?
What do you mean?
You're gesticulating so much.
What's gesticulating?
With your hands. You're like all over the place. Okay, here we have it's your computer, sweetie. I know you're trying to make it exciting, but...
Here's my computer setup. This is the primary rig right here that I do all the editing and recording of the audio on, and then I do all the blah, blah, blah. So basically, what I got in here right now, you might have seen it in my personal update rig video. We have, excuse me, fart.
You're gonna cut that out.
No, I'm not gonna cut that out. We have an i7 4790K clocked at 4.4 gigahertz. I can't get it any higher, which is unfortunate. GTX 1080, a 512 gigabyte NVMe drive in there, as well as another 500 gigabyte SATA SSD, just as a dump drive for editing video files and whatnot. I actually have an external 2 terabyte drive up there that's not plugged in right now. I never plug it in unless I need to because it's noisy as fuck, and I use that for archival footage. 16 gigs of RAM at 2400 megahertz. It's the best DDR3 you can get. Some motherboard, I think it's a Gaming 5 motherboard from Gigabyte, and a 650 watt power supply, EVGA P2, one of the best you can buy for the money. Anyhow, 24-inch monitor, 144 hertz, nothing fancy, 1080p, does the job, TN panel of course. We have a Yeti microphone for recording audio. It gets a lot of shit because it's not a good, for a USB mic, it's about as good as you're going to get, I guess. Z200 speakers from Logitech. Nothing exciting there. I'm not a big audio guy. I can't tell the difference. I've had one ear surgically repaired. Like, people can be talking at me from over there and I'll think that they're right in front of me. It's a strange phenomenon anyway, so I don't really do the surround shit and give a fuck about all that. But the peripherals though, let's zoom in here. I will probably get a lot of shit for this, but we have a Razer NACA Chroma on the right hand, and we have a Razer Orb Weaver Chroma on the left hand. I got used to using one of these guys ever since I owned the Belkin N52TE. For MMORPGs, this is essential, having something like this. Because I have a number pad right here on the side of this thing, and one right here if I want it, I went with a 60% keyboard. This is an Anna Pro with RGB lighting, not that I give a fuck about that, I just have it set to purple. And it has Gateron Browns, which are the most linear feeling of all the tactile switches I've ever felt. The bump happens really early in the key press, so like the rest of the way down it just feels like a red switch. I just switched from a V60 Mini recently, and of course the camera usually goes right up here on this little tripod that I got off Amazon for some arbitrary amount of money. Modem gets stored back here, and 2 Xbox One controllers that share double duty between this and over here we have my secondary PC, which I will probably in the future use as a stream box if I start streaming more. And especially if it's a particularly resource-intensive game and I need a second PC for streaming. But this right here is a Nerdy Tech Couchmaster. Give them a nice view of that. Just look at the pads here. You got 2 microfiber cloth foam pads and a board with space inside for cables. Look up the Nerdy Tech Couchmaster if you want an idea of what exactly it is. And over here I put all the stuff I'm not using at my primary rig anymore. So here's that V60 Mini I mentioned. It can switch between green and blue, no RGB. I have it set to blue right now because I accompanied it with the Talon Blue, which is probably the best budget mouse you can buy. For $26 Canadian, you get 2 Omron switches for the left and right click, and you get an Avago 3050 sensor optical with DPI ranging from 500 to 3000, I think. This is the best mouse that you can possibly buy for that money, hands down. There's no comparison. Okay, onward to the system itself, so you can show it in that little computer down there on the left. You don't have to fucking turn slowly. What are you, goddamn Steven Spielberg? So on there on the left, we have a Silverstone SG13 case, and inside that, from memory, we have a Corsair SF450 small form factor power supply. That case doesn't actually require small form factor power supplies, but I have one in there anyway with a PP08 Silverstone adapter, just because I plan on sizing that down at some point. But anyway, more on that later. In addition to the power supply in there, we got an H97i Plus, I think, motherboard from Asus, featuring an i5-4590 with multi-core turbo enabled. So everything's running at 3.7 gigahertz. We have a GTX 970 Mini from Gigabyte. A deep-cooled Gabriel cooler on the CPU, which is one of the better coolers you can get for an ITX board that will fit in that case. One singular intake fan at the front. And is there anything else I'm missing? Oh, 16 gigs of RAM, low profile, DDR3, Crucial Ballistics. And the SSD. I recently installed a SATA 3 M.2 drive under the motherboard. It's actually on the bottom side of the board, which is kind of neat. Nice little convenient place to put it. Although I wouldn't recommend putting an NVMe drive in a space like that. There's not a lot of air down there. It might get pretty hot. On the right down there, which is currently not connected because I haven't filmed a video featuring that system in a while, is of course the ship box. Now you might be thinking to yourself, that looks different from the way it used to look. Well, I moved it into a smaller case because I wanted to fit it under the fucking TV, and the big giant gray thing I had before was ugly as sin. Connected to those, you might see an Xbox One and Xbox 360 adapter in the middle there, if you look real close. This system is meant not only as a stream box, but for couch gaming when I have people over, or when Kate and I want to play a game. We'll use the controllers that are mounted up here on the wall, or the Xbox One controllers over there if it's just the two of us, because they feel a lot better. Vast improvement over what's in here. That's in the case of us not needing the Nerdy Tech Couchmaster, which, to be fair, I don't use this a lot anymore, because this was from an era where I was convinced that I could convert my entire setup to TV PC use only and get rid of the desk altogether. That's when I bought this, something like 3 years ago, and that didn't quite pan out, so this is now secondary. Next, we'll go over to the Workspace. So here is the Workspace, which is a fucking unholy mess right now. If you come over here, I'll show you my shelf. This shelf usually has graphics cards on the bottom and motherboards scattered throughout it. I got a bunch of boxes I just need to throw out. This is all just random crap that I've collected over the last little while and haven't bothered to sort out. There's shit scattered everywhere here. Got power supplies, fans, an old Samsung 6 Edge that's not legit anymore because it was reported lost. Broken stuff that goes behind this monitor, which is used for finished builds. I hook up finished builds here if it's an upright tower. Hook them up to this monitor and this keyboard and fiddle around with them, installing the operating system and whatnot. After they leave the Workspace, which is this right here. You may recognize this from my first setup tour intro video back when I was in the apartment prior to being here. And so it's the same old bench with the same old shelves underneath it that are now double deep. I've got another shelf in the back behind the shelf that allows me to just push everything straight through to the back. So like it's double long. It's neat. And these drawers, we got, I'm not going to go over specifics, but we got power cables, DVI cables, SATA cables there. We got I/O shields and zip ties to fuck. We've got, what's in here, 80 millimeter fans and more I/O shields and stuff. Fans, the RAM, all this stuff you saw in the first intro video I did where I gave you a tour of my setup area. I got a motherboard here, currently on the go, getting this prepped for a build. Workspace, including screws, drives that I need to test. Thermal paste, a big tub of it. A lens duster for some reason. I think I bought this for the purpose of like cleaning out systems and not using canned air. That didn't pan out because this is a piece of shit. It doesn't blow anything.
Feels good.
Feels good? You like that? Like getting a blow in your face? And here's the real stuff. Dead graphics cards. So I keep the cards because the coolers are still good. This is an R9 290 that is toast. I'm not exactly sure why. I have never bothered to plug it in and put the multimeter to this thing and figure out what exactly was wrong with it. Pretty sure the GPU itself is fine. It's probably something on the PCB. It looks like it maybe took a fall at some point. There's like a couple of fins that have been bent. Not exactly sure. And I wouldn't want to venture a guess. But the cooler is still good. So I'm going to use that at some point for a compatible PCB in the event that I come across a card that needs a new set of fans or whatnot. And this, I wanted to show you guys specifically. I ordered this just last week. It actually comes in two boxes. One for the left hand, one for the right hand. These are gloves that have an on-off switch with little lights on the fingers. This is Kate's first time seeing it too. I just bought these. $10 of gloves. You can buy one hand if you want, but I got both hands. And working in cases from now on will be a breeze. One thing I hated most is that I have terrible vision. Absolutely terrible vision. I really should see a doctor. And I just got so sick of working inside big cases or small cases that were really crowded, or big cases that were really deep where there was no light getting into it. And this, of course, solved the problem, and I kind of feel like a rock star too.
Hi, Rosie Lou. Hi, Rosie Lou. Hello, baby girl. And you too, Mango.
Make sure you get a good shot of my ass going up.
Yeah.
You like that? The final phase of the whole build process, whenever I put together a build, is I bring it up here to a second TV here in the living room. So if I ever have anyone over to the house to come test it out, it's right as they walk in the door. Set up right here, simple HDMI cable and power cable hooked up to the wall with a wireless keyboard and mouse just to show that it works. This build is for a friend. It's got extra stuff going with it, like an old Razer mouse I had sitting around in a business, and that mechanical keyboard I viewed a few videos ago. He's agreed to buy at cost. The real reason I brought you up here is because I wanted to show you my most treasured because I wanted to show you my most treasured toy, my most prized possession, and that is not one, but two Buffalo SNES controllers hooked up to a Raspberry Pi with RetroPie on it, bitches. So in the morning time, whenever we're getting ready to go to work, I can sit here and play video games for half an hour while she fucking showers and does her hair and does whatever else, and it's all gravy. I don't know why I'm farting so much, but it's just coming out of me.
Don't include this.
I'm gonna.
No.
Oh yeah, it's going in. Anyway, thank you for watching. I quite enjoyed giving you this little tour. I'll see you again in the next video, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and fuck off.
You're so weird. Oh my god.